No mistake from the Frenchman.
God, should have been the man. Yes, sir. First class flights on the
Sensational! Here comes Ward-Prowse. Loftus-Cheek takes aim.
This is Corner Flag Talk.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us once again. We're back here on Corner Flag Talk with another breakdown. We know we are very late with this transfer window. It's closing this Friday and Premier League is once again back. But before we get that in, I scoured long and far. Look on the rocks. I went back in time to find a Spurs fan.
You just didn't look in the right places.
And I've had with me Ian King. I have known him possibly my entire life. And it's an honor to have you here, Bill.
Pleasure is mine.
So we're going to get right into it. You guys know from seeing it everywhere and on our past episodes, we're going to go into the report card. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to do transfer activity. So, transfer activity last season, it's not that hard to think about because it didn't really have any. However, I mean, looking at that isolated, you would have to say that I guess it is bad because they needed recruitment.
Well, I think it was a strategy on the part of the club, the hierarchy of the club. Daniel Levy, as we all know, the shrewd businessman that he is, not wanting to end up at some of the clubs in the past, and one that comes to mind immediately is Leeds United, who, tried to develop a strategy to continue to have Champions League football, and it was to their own demise. So, with the assistance of the coach, who again for me is one of the top coaches in the world right now.
Definitely.
The business of keeping the club operating within their means, and as we have seen as well, some of the prices that we've seen passing as transfer.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So they have tried to keep the club within that, have players play for the club, have players who want to actually be part of something special. And one of the things that I admire about the club is their promotion of players from within the ranks and players, the younger players being given a chance. So I think it was all geared towards continuing to have enough funding for building their new stadium, which we are now enjoying, reaping the benefits of that. So it was a shrewd bit of business on the part of the club and the club's hierarchy.
Unfortunately, I have to ask, so what grade would I give it then?
I think I probably a B, and the B, I'm only giving a B because of the fact that there were no trophies. So I think realistically, we could not, I don't think, for me as a Spurs fan, my goal for last season was to get into the top 4.
Right.
And that goal was achieved. I think this year, it's a different, we have set ourselves different goals, as you would see, with the intention that we have already signaled at the start of the transfer window.
Fair enough. Okay, well then, you see, I felt like I'm a big Moussa Dembele fan, and I think at least up until last season, he was very integral into how they played, and you saw that he was slowing down because of his ability and his ability to last throughout an entire game at his level that he set while his time in North London. And I felt like they should have, if any position, they should have just tried to get a replacement for him.
Well, the replacement came from within, and that came in the person of Harry Winks. And again, going back to the youth policy that Spurs have adopted over the past couple of years, more so with the coming of Mauricio Pochettino, Harry Winks would have stepped into that position, but he did not last by way of injuries and so on. Had some issues with that thing.
Okay, so we'll go on to the expectations versus outcomes. So you already started off, you said that, you think that they should have, your expectations were top 4. So then I think, when we look at the season as a whole, we talk about all competition. We talk about finish top 4, top Arsenal. You finished in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. I believe it was the 4th round in the FA Cup.
I think the FA was the semi-final, I think. or fourth round. Could be, yeah.
And then obviously the big achievement was making the Champions League finals against all odds.
Yeah.
After going down to, the last day of the Champions League group stage where it was very possible that, your fate was even out of your own hands.
Yeah.
And, it's so, I found it so funny, both Liverpool and Spurs could have very easily had different fates on the last day. And then, in football, you just have to take chances when they come to you, and make the best out of it. Both teams make it to the final, first English final in how much years?
Yeah. Well, the thing that we need to remember is that football is still a sport, and it's still competition. So there must be a winner.
Yeah.
There must be a loser. And in hindsight, we can look at one key factor that all of the world has been alluding to, the fact that Lucas Moura did not start, having scored the hat-trick in the semi-final.
Yeah.
But again, I've had this discussion from Champions League final to now. What we need to understand is who Harry Kane was to the team.
Yeah,
Harry
I
Kane
totally agree with that.
is equivalent probably to Messi. And that's
No,
saying,
it is.
and I'm not saying he is equivalent to Messi, but what Messi is to Barcelona, Harry Kane is indeed to Tottenham and by extension England.
No, I don't think you're wrong in any way. No, I think Pochettino
I think he was between a rock and a hard
Exactly,
place
because-
to damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing.
And so, alright, so real quickly before I add what I was to say, what was your grade then for the season?
I'll still give a B because
Serious?
I'll still give a B because of the fact that we achieved what we set out, which was top 4. So if we set one goal and we achieved that one goal, I think we well within the grade. Other people may have set goals for us, but Spurs did not set goals of things. If you would have listened, Pochettino, he kept saying trophies were not always important.
Yeah.
And that is what his mantra was last year.
No, well, for me, I give it an A now, because did you, just real quickly before I finish, did you think that Champions League finals was possible last year?
That wasn't the goal at all. And to answer your question, no, I didn't think that we had the
The squad?
artillery to get to the final.
So that's why I think, it was superseding expectations,
Yeah.
So that's why I gave it an A. When we get into managers, I'll talk about it, but I'm a huge admirer of Pochettino and the work that he has done despite the injuries and the suspensions, and every time he had a very reasonable excuse to say, well, what more could I have done? It didn't matter to him,
One of the things I admire with him is, as you just said there was never an excuse. He said it as it is, as it was.
Yeah.
He took full responsibility in most cases for the results of the team, and that is a true manager. I really admire that style with him. That's a true manager.
And just lastly on the Champions League finals, I think, like you said, he was in a rock and a hard place. What I thought he would have done, I just thought he'd have given Harry Kane the half, and if the half wasn't good to Harry Kane's standard, he'd have taken him off. Then I was just kind of slightly surprised that he took so long to take him off now. And we saw not just even with Spurs, but even 2 weeks later, if it was so long, if I'm wrong, I apologize, to when England was playing, he wasn't even up to par then. And again, because of his reputation, because of his standing he has in the world as being a top 3, probably at worst top 5 striker in world football, he has to play.
I think for me, I am not at training sessions. I am not in England, so the preparation. Pochettino is a very meticulous coach.
Yeah.
He looks at things that, in some cases, he does things that we sometimes try to figure out.
Yeah.
One of them is purchasing Sissoko. That was something that everybody tried to figure out. Well, how? And most of his decisions, 99% of his decisions, bore fruit. So there was no need for me to doubt him putting Harry Kane in that game, because when you look at for this year thus far in warm up, I don't think anybody would have given Harry Kane a ghost of a chance of scoring the 3rd goal that he scored against Juventus from the half line.
Yeah.
So Harry Kane is capable of turning a game on its head. And I think in looking at the capability, and Harry Kane has done this before in games that were pretty tight, he came up with something out of nothing. I think that is the factor that Harry Kane brings to Tottenham. And if as I trust my coach, I think that is the reason for playing Harry Kane in that final.
And then, staying on the whole talking about the coach thing then, do you think Poch exceeded expectations this year? Or even of himself, the high standard he set of himself?
No, I think Pochettino is now people are now beginning to stand up and take a look at what he has been doing over the past 5 years at least. What you have in a lot of cases is, and again, these are arguments that I always have with, football minds, where the average coach now, whenever he goes into a team, he spends a lot of money to get the team that he wants, rather than through coaching methods.
No, I'm
not going to. But rather than go that particular route, he looks at what he has. I remember the first year when he came, persons like Paulinho, Bentaleb, Chadley, these are some of the names that he took and tried to fashion into a team and gradually phase them out, So for me, persons are now taking stock of him, and the next step will be to back Pochettino with the money that can be given, that should be given, to really go out there and try to be in the footsteps of Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, that kind of thing.
Okay, so as a last thing, what grade did I give him?
Again, I will give him a B, only because of the fact that I felt we should have we should have aimed a bit higher this season, and by higher I mean we had the League Cup, we had the FA Cup. I think either one of them we should have placed a little more emphasis on, because when you look at Champions League and you look at past winners of Champions League, winners of Champions League have always been winners of leagues in their respective countries.
Yes, correct.
So the challenge was always there, and putting your eggs in the Champions League basket was always a tough one as compared to trying to win trophies locally.
I've done. I mean, you said it all there. I've done that start, and I'm a big admirer of him and the work he's done. And I give him a little bit higher, B plus. I let down with him.
I can tell you, I'll be harder this year, this 2019.
Yeah, because now when he's put not just himself but the team in a position where you expect silverware.
Yeah.
And when you hear Poch talk, I don't think it was this season. It was last season. He said, when I arrived at Spurs, myself, Daniel Levy, and the board sat down, and we had a plan. And that plan was across 8-10 years. We are 6 years higher than we were supposed to be because of so much things falling into line, and because of how good he was at bringing out talent. I mean, look at so much raw players that he turned into world class players. We're talking about Harry Kane, we're talking about phenomenal seasons in the past from Dele Alli, we're talking about Ericsson being one of the best attacking midfielders in the world.
And John, if we can go back to the transfer window, and persons stating we didn't purchase any new players. We also have to factor in the fact that no players left the club.
That's correct.
Or players of note. Because every day within the news it was Harry Kane leaving for X amount, Dele Alli on people's mind, Son, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Rose one.
Look, Vertonghen had a 25 million release clause and nobody.
Alderweireld. Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I meant. So so we got the three worst players. So let me go first. The three best players.
Well, my top in my list of players who would have in the category of best would have been Son Heung-min would have been top. Lucas Moura would have been second, and a name that probably persons would not have taken note of, but Sissoko, I think, had reached the point of being
definitely
probably the second name on the team list for each game once fit.
Rightly so too.
Yeah.
So for me, I had Son. I think there is, because of the stature of player that Harry Kane is, when he's not there, there's a huge hole in the side. And there were times in the past where if Harry Kane wasn't fit and playing, that Spurs would have suffered. And I think Humansong really stepped up to the plate in his absence this year and took that striker role, that Roman striker role, as his own. And we saw how well he shone in the Champions League for them.
And the thing about it is, if you go back to the archives, you would have seen there would have been talk of Son not being happy and wanting to leave last year. And after a conversation with Pochettino, he came out and, the results of that conversation, at least you saw it on the field.
Secondly, I had Christian Eriksen. I know this wasn't like one of his big numbers here. However, I think the versatility he displayed, playing deeper, playing higher, playing a little wide, and the class and the standard that he set as his floor, that even his so-called worst performances was still of a great level, and his high performances were phenomenal for me. I know it wasn't one of those seasons where he racked up a huge number of goals and assists, but his ability in helping Spurs get forward and how key he was in those small moments where they won games, even if he didn't give the goal and he didn't give the assist, but he inch perfect pass forward to somebody running wide, the drive through the midfield, that little extra he adds that doesn't get noted on the paper, I think was very significant.
I think it's noted, John, and it's noted, and when you look at even for this transfer window here, him being linked to clubs like Real Madrid, Juventus, Manchester United, for want of a better team kind of thing, that spoke volumes, and I think for me one of the issues for not having as productive a season as he would have had before, I think, was because of not being able to have someone to share that burden with him. Because Dele Alli fell off a bit this year through injuries and other things, fell off a bit this year, and too much was placed on the shoulders of Eriksen, and therefore going forward, I think once we had to get a little more depth in certain areas of the squad,
And thirdly, for me, I had Toby Alderweireld. I thought he was phenomenal. And I think, partnerships in football are so key. And the partnership that he struck up with Jan Vertonghen is so wonderful that, yes, Van Dijk, best defender in the league. But in terms of partnerships, I think the Belgian pair might be the best partnership in the league.
And again, this is a player who, for all reports of last year, wanted to leave and was about to leave, and for once acted as, and through it all, acted as a true professional. And we've even seen it this year again in the transfer window, where he was linked with Manchester United, Roma, different clubs, and he has put his head down like a true professional and has continued to deliver. And if you look at pre-season this year thus far, he seems to be one that is there for at least, and I'm hopeful that he will be there for this season.
So, we got the three. So, for me, number one, I had Dele Alli, and I would not lie, I do take joy in saying that. However, though, Dele Alli under Pochettino and in this Spurs side had set a high standard for himself. It wasn't too long ago that he had double digits in goals and assists in the league. Just 18 goals, which is remarkable for an attacking midfielder. And now, like you say, it was through injuries and whatnot, but the fact is that he did not have a good season. He had some decent performances. Against Ajax, he was pretty good. He had some small moments here and there, but largely, when we thought about that last season, and the season before, he was irremovable from the team sheet to the point where, he had points he was fit but had to sit on the bench. And
for all intents and purposes, I think for Dele Alli came onto the scene and set himself some high standards.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think for him, yes, it was a disappointing season, but I think it's all part of the learning process for him
Yeah.
because he's still very young. Having had to shoulder responsibilities both at the club level and the international level, with the English fans crying out for something
Yeah.
on a national level, that a lot of pressure was placed on the shoulders of not just Dele Alli, but Raheem Sterling would have suffered a bit of
definitely.
what Dele Alli is suffering now, and we have seen Raheem Sterling come into his own. So I'm expecting better things from Dele Alli. He's still in the learning curve, and therefore last year's experience will only help to make him better this year.
Next for me, I had Trippier. I found that after he had such a good World Cup, and people were speaking about his technical ability and his delivery, and then that his free kick in the semi-finals, it was a real good free kick. He came back this year and his delivery wasn't so good. It was like one in every 4 crosses was reaching somebody, and you felt like after the coming of the World Cup he was just banged on for a good season. And now that he is sold, I don't really see too much Spurs fans that upset about him being.
Well, I think typical of English players and English fans, they hype up players probably too soon or probably just after one good performance. And Trippier has been a consistent performer, but for me, Trippier hasn't reached the heights of Kyle Walker. And yes, his delivery is good, but again, probably some expectations and could be fatigue as well, because when you look at the English players straight from the World Cup, from Tottenham, going straight from World Cup, having a very short pre-season and a very long season, and due to the fact of all the competitions Tottenham would have entered, they got to the latter stages of each competition. So it was a bit harsh for him. However, he felt that he needed a fresh challenge, and as a Spurs fan, I can only wish him all the best.
And thirdly, a little contentious, I had Hugo Lloris. I know he had moments where he came up real big, but I feel like for a keeper of his ability, and even as somebody who's a France supporter, the fact that he has this mistake in him to fumble the ball, to do some really very erroneous things with his his attempts to save, and those kind of stuff. It really is fumbling about somebody of that ability to lack sometimes the focus that is required. And the thing is that he captains the club as well at moments.
What we need to remember as well, he would have successfully captained France to World Cup, and
in the semi-final,
and just as they are blunders, they are excellent saves, which are depending on the timing of the saves and at the points in the game, it has more of, I think, goalkeepers are always singled out because a defender, midfielder, or forward making a mistake is way different from a goalkeeper making a mistake. And as much mistakes as you can call for Hugo Lloris, I can call double that amount of excellent saves that would have kept Tottenham in the game. So I think, yes, I am not making excuses. They are fumbles, they are mistakes being made, and I think as the true professional that he is, captain of the team, he has owned up to these mistakes, and he has owned up with a view to correcting them going forward. I would like probably for us to start looking in that direction as we speak, and the Ajax goalkeeper comes to my mind as one of the persons I would like to see in Tottenham colours in the very near future.
Alright, so who's your trio-list?
Well, my three words would not have been different to yours. I had Dele Alli, Trippier, but one other performer, which was also at the right back position. That's one player I think should be sold. I think he's a liability.
I need to apologize. I just talk about lapse of concentration. And that one is Mr. Lapse of concentration.
Yeah, something is not right there.
No, and the irony is that he's go from 1 minute of superb cross,
exactly,
and the next minute It's nearly a red card.
He's not consistent at all, and at times he has the team on edge, and you know, I think there's a bit of discomfort when he's on the field for the rest of the players.
Alright, so real quickly, surprise player, mine Musa Sissoko.
Correct. I can't agree with you more there. Yeah. Had a terrible season first, trying to fit in, trying to do.
And people thought his time at Spurs was all but done, you know?
Yeah.
And look how he just reinvented himself as his box-to-box midfielder. And, I mean...
Well, John, I wouldn't say... I'll give a lot of credit to Mauricio
Definitely.
Pochettino.
No, definitely.
Because again, I am sure discussions would have taken place to try to find the right position. Yes, Sissoko's attitude would have played a significant part in him being successful, but I think the manager giving him that confidence to go out there, even though the fans were calling for his head game after game, the manager gave him that confidence.
Yeah. Alright guys, so that's it for this part of the episode. Catch us everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Corner Flag Talk, on YouTube, Corner Flag Talk. We are out on all platforms: Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and we have our website out as well, cornerflagtalk.squarespace.com. Check us out everywhere. I keep forgetting to say this, but like and subscribe to the video. You know, that helps a lot. Thank you very much, Leon, for being here. Catch you guys next time. See you soon. Take it easy.
God, should I been the man? Yes, sir. First class flights on the Delta. Check still sitting on the dresser. Yes, sir. I settled for the lessons. Should I been the man? Yes, sir. Head down, but I stay blessed up. God told me that I'm next up. Yes, sir.